Good morning. It's December 14th, 2024, and it's a Wall Street Weekly Wrap-Up with your host, John Newquist. Not a big earnings week, but we had a lot of news and a lot of stuff that was happening, so I think we have to talk about some of the issues that came up. And we're going to start always with our two stocks and highlight this month. Google, the big news out of nowhere, they've got the quantum chip, Willow. I'll tell you, 105 qubits. Okay. What's a qubit? I didn't know they were measuring it in terms of qubit. It has the ability to do quantum. And here's the real number. You got a good state-of-the-art supercomputer. It can do the calculations in 5 minutes versus 10 septillion years. I don't even know how many that is. It's more than a billion. It's more than a trillion. I don't know where septillion is. Wow. So it's good, right? I mean, it's a nice chip. You're not going to get it in your cell phone. I can't imagine. You know, somebody showed me a picture. It was like the size of your palm. And made by Taiwan Semiconductor, is based on past performances. And IBM, which has the fastest, doesn't have the ability to correct the errors, which, you know, I guess when you're calculating billions in chips a microsecond, you might have to have the ability to figure out if you're making a mistake or something. So the news jumped the stock. Holy smokes. You can see this in here. Boom, 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 boom. It's up. You know, here's your real issue. Is this going to be something we're going to buy? I mean, I see them in the supercomputers. You know, that's a big deal. But where's the homeowner going to use it? You know, this thing can mine all the Bitcoin in, what, 20 seconds? You know, I mean, I don't know. This is really kind of a fascinating thing, and I really haven't dug into the application of this Willow chip. Who's going to buy it? Is there the demand? Everything else. And at Google. It's Google. All right. Surprising. Again, Taiwan Semiconductor, working with everybody who's making anything important. Holy smokes. Big surge in orders, and the market goes, yeah, okay, big deal. All right, I think it's a big deal. I think they can keep up. If they could make it bigger capacity, and the Arizona place is going to come online, and they can make the AI NVIDIA chips. That's a big deal. They're going to make the AI chips in the United States. Woo. Again, they make chips for Apple. Apple's working on their own stuff, too, so... It's good to be Taiwan Semiconductor. It's a stock I think it's going to be long-term. I mean, this is a lovely slope up. I mean, you know, that's what you want. Yeah, it got down close to touching it once in August, but, you know, good stock to hold. If you get it down below over here somewhere, you know, grab it for sure, but I'd ease into it. Our indicators, you know, the 2-year note, 5 up, you know, I'll tell you what, they're talking a rate cut. And everybody's saying it's not good. The CPI is too hard. We'll talk about the CPI, but oil's up above 70 and it's cold. So, you know, we're going to burn a lot of heat, but that's going to be natural gas, and that's why it's over $3. So we're going to hit crude oil at 71. Remember, they make money at 40, so ka-ching to my two oil companies. Gold's 2,600. Silver, it's down to 31, but boy, it got up to $33. I mean, chart has been really good for silver, and then copper, you know, 420 sitting at that level, not moving, you know, so never good to see copper in the low $4 range. I got to talk about coffee and cocoa. Two different products, both are good drinks. Coffee, it just peaked up. We got up to this high and it dropped a little bit. I tell you, I don't want to say I hoarded a lot of coffee, but I did. I mean, I have coffee to last me almost the whole year because. And somebody says, you're drinking year-old coffee? I know, but I like it. If it's good coffee, it's good coffee. Cocoa, on the other hand, is not showing any signs of breaking out. So your days of hot chocolate, your cocoa for your chocolate bars, whoo, could be pretty expensive. That's, again, I hate to say I bought a lot of chocolate, but I got a box of chocolate. I got pounds of chocolate. It's like, I'm going to have enough for a while. Not for a year, but enough for a while. Our indicators. Oh, let's talk about our portfolio. 43%. Yeah, we lost a little bit, like about 1.5%, sort of the NASDAQ. But, you know, this is a pretty big difference. Remember, we benchmark against the S&P 500. That's our goal. We want to beat this, and we're up 16%. Unless it completely collapses in the last 2 weeks, which will not happen, we are going to beat every published fund manager, every published portfolio expert on YouTube that is a diversified in all 11 or 14 sectors like we do. So that's our goal. We want to be the best. We are the best. The last 2 years, nobody's beaten us. and you know, you'd be up 75%. That's nothing, right? Who needs 75% gain in 2 years, right? S&P 500, I think it's a celebration. It got over 6,000, and it's doing well. I mean, there's a lot of things with the S&P 500 that's good. It's diversified. It's got some of the best stocks around. I'm more starting to watch really now what's being added to the S&P 500. Of course, the Dow with their industrials, some of the companies are not so good. So we'll see. Core CPI, this is a number that's bothersome because, the core is at 3.3, so not the worst inflation, but that's what the Fed watches for inflation targets. So it's, the consumer prices are up a little bit less than that, but we're going to see either a pause in January for rate cuts because, we can't get too much below the core. It'll always be above the core by some number. I don't know if it's going to be above it by, 0.5% or something else, but that's a number that's stubborn, And so we got to look at this stuff. S&P 500. I have to swear, there's 1,001 people showing, well, back to back it's going to do good, back to back it's going to do bad. So let's just take a look at where we had over 20% from the S&P data, and of course that's the crash in the mid 30s. Of course, the Great Depression, we had boom, boom, boom 4 years in a row, and then we got to kind of go back over here into the 50s, and we had a good year after that, but it was low, And then let's get in another 20%. We got to look for two of them. There's a lot of them at 19%. If I drew a 21%, there's not too many years. Like over here, this is like 20%, so I threw out those. But if we went to these 2 years, 97 and 98, we had a pretty good, almost a 20% year after that. So, short data, it could happen. I mean, I have to say, the 90s, I don't want to call them roaring 90s, but really, we look at this one little dinky year, and we had a lot of good gains. And for a lot of people, and particularly the boomers, that changed their whole retirement. And you had money to retire if you planned it out. So here we are, we're sitting at this kind of level here. What are they doing? And of course, most people say it's not going to probably be that good, but I gotta say, we don't know which year it's going to be. If it was 100%, it'd be a different animal.
This is a reminder. Talk about NVIDIA.
Oh, because we didn't talk about NVIDIA.
This is a reminder.
What do you want to say about NVIDIA? Everybody wants the chips. And, people are talking about, there's going to be all these people. Look at Google's got a chip. AMD is going to get a chip. And Apple wants a chip. Well, good. They're all buying the NVIDIA chips. They're sold out for the next year. Just remember, put it in terms of Big Macs. You can't get a Big Mac until 2026. You're going to buy McDonald's or not? I think you would. It's good. He's not overpricing it. And then, they actually came out with the Rubin prototype. It seems to be a lot faster. I don't know how fast you can keep on making them. Somebody's got to do the Rubin chip versus the Google quantum chip and kind of do some things on her. But, we got a couple big players in it, and we're in both of them. And who makes them? Taiwan, and we're in that. So I just keep on saying, you got to go back. What's in the chip for the Blackwell, ARM, and NVIDIA? Who makes it? Taiwan. Those are your troika. That is your three companies you got to own. And ease into it. Don't go in there. But I didn't put it in NVIDIA chart. And thank you, Alexa, for reminding me, because everybody wants to know what I think about NVIDIA every week. Microsoft in Mount Pleasant. Remember, I've been there. And this is state of the art. It's going to be the AI data center. And as President Biden said, the first one in the country. Well, that's going to be a lot of wordsmithing later on. But, they're going to do a design where they don't need 120 million liters of water per year per data center. That's a stunning thing if they can do this. I didn't think that would be possible because you use cooling all the time. And, you can go to the Microsoft press release and read it, but essentially, they're going to reduce the amount of cooling at the data centers, and it's going to be quite a remarkable savings of water, which makes everybody happy. And, of course, Microsoft is just kind of taken off, even though nothing is really earth-shattering. This is not making it jump. It just, a lot of good news. It had a nice wedge going sideways. I'd talk about this was a symmetrical wedge, and it broke up. There you are. That's what you want to get. Again, will it break the top? This is the remains to be seen. Could it do bounce off like we've seen double tops before? But, I always like Microsoft, and it's going to grow, and it's got multiple streams of revenue. Apple, I mean, look at this thing. This thing has kind of taken off since November. You know, we've gone from 230 all the way up to 248, and it's a nice chart, and the slope is good. And Morgan Stanley says, "Oh, we'll drive 850 earnings in 26." And I'm thinking, "Wow, do we skip 25?" Well, it could be an uneven year. No kidding, no kidding. They're working on an artificial chip with Broadcom, and that's what I said. See, people are looking at it. And we'll talk about Broadcom in a little bit later. Costco, again, them and Walmart are the two best retailers, and Amazon, and we're in two of the three. Can't have Costco. We could buy Costco, but you know, it's Costco just doesn't give you a break. I mean, look at this slope is up, and look at the closest you could get is right around here. It's not coming down to the 200-day moving average at all, and it's quite above the trend line, so it's too pricey. I guess you could buy a little bit and ease up over time, but good quarter. Sales of 7%, EPA is solid, and again, revenues 7.5 year to year. And I think it's a solid company. You can't get any better than those three retailers. Oracle guided revenues and earnings lower, and of course that street just dumps the stock. It goes up to $200. Here it is down to 175, and so you lost 20 some dollars a share, and get a little ingestion. After Oracle was being pumped up, I don't know where Oracle's going. I just say it's got good revenues. Nothing like NVIDIA revenues, I mean, if you get double digit in tech, that's what I see. You want to buy those companies. I've had Oracle. I mean, I remember having Oracle back in like $7 and selling it for 84 or something like that. It's a lot of money. And, would you have been better off? Well, if you look back at hindsight, 2001 you sell it for 84, and then 20 years later it's at 200. I don't know if that's a good deal. So timing sometimes is a difference. AMGN, again, we had the GLP-1 trial in phase 3 not to do so good. It dropped 20% of the way, but people wanted more. Side effects, 12% dropped out of the trial. So, the market's just brutal on AMGN right now. And, we're in it, and we're going to wait till December, and we're going to see how these do and stuff. But, I always look at AMGN. AI is going to change, and which company is going to do the miracles with AI, I'm not sure. AMGN's in the rule, Pfizer, Merck, all these big companies. You got to have money to do this, so it isn't going to be the little pharmaceutical guy with $1 million of backing. It's going to be a lot of big companies.
This is a reminder. Talk about.
Oh, it must be Bitcoin.
This is a reminder. Talk about.
You got the 100,000 yesterday. Alexa, what's the price of Bitcoin? Alexa. See, it doesn't want to answer me. He's stubborn. I want to talk about something, but I bet it was Bitcoin. Got up to $100,000. We're going to get into Ethereum today because BlackRock has several million in it.
This is a reminder. Talk about Ethereum.
Oh, well, there it is. Okay. Alexa, stop.
This is a reminder.
See,
Talk about
stop.
Ethereum.
It doesn't. We're going to go into Ethereum. We're already in it a little bit. We're going to add some more. It's getting pricey. I forgot what I paid for it, like $4,000 around there, near the old-time high. But you got to remember, we're not at the old-time high in Bitcoin. When Ethereum was at 4,000, Bitcoin was at 60. Now Bitcoin's at 100. Ethereum should be proportionally higher if the ETFs come out, as I expect. I'm telling you, we're going to have the most crypto administration come in on January 22nd. It's going to do everything it can do to make crypto popular and all this other stuff, and I think you got to start buying a little bit more. I mean, I look at it as stocks. 2.5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, and if you want to put the rest of it in the other 2.5, you'll have 5%. But don't go crazy on Bitcoin. I mean, I know some people that's like a lot of savings for them, but the Berlin Sato is doing well in leukemia, and you'll hear the word leukemia come up. But this is things that I think AMGN is going to do well, and we'll see. I mean, again, this is a long-term play. A lot of these stocks we're going to watch, and if it just does bad, we'll get out of it. Lilly again, leukemia again. Remember, I already got the weight loss drugs and Alzheimer's drug. PE is so high. Holy smokes, it's red hot, 86. No dividend to really speak of. It's almost like a tech stock, and of course, it had a double top. So, like I said, when we get a stock that comes up here, I want to see it break it. I don't want to see it bounce and bounce and bounce and then drop. That's not. There's nothing wrong with Lilly. It's just that it's pricey, And, when it's pricey, you're going to get this action that's sometimes pretty ugly. And you'll think, man, I bought it at 950. Well, good. You're at 700 something. And, you're taking a beating, and you might be a while before you get back to it. Then one day it'll just shoot up in a rocket like this, and you'll be past it. But what is that? A year from now, 2 years from now, or, February? We don't know. But, it's a stock I like. It's got everything going for it. It's right. But again, we're going to try to relaunch our health side of our thing. I mean, we're overweight in health because I really believe health is going to benefit the most from AI when they start putting in all the data and all the trials and be able to, look at 1,000 studies related to the same issue, and it's going to have suggestions and everything else. General Motors calls it quits, so therefore Waymo is the king in the United States, the king, and the only king, because that's the only one out there right now in the United States. My favorite Baidu is in China, which is the first one with Autonomous going in there. They've got it. Now I was watching some idiot on San Francisco beating up and breaking the windows on an automobilist, driverless car, and I'm like, why would you do that? But some people, don't like it. They think, oh, you're taking my job away. Well, there's a lot of jobs. You don't have to be a cab driver, Uber driver. But GM, realizes this is a lot of money. Google's been working on it for years, Baidu years. So you want to work on the cruise? Guess what? It's a lot of work, a lot of tech. Better off to partner with Waymo. Elon's 2028, remember? 2028. So he's like 3 years behind on the clock already. So that's why we like Google. That's why we like Alphabet and, GM, a little bit in there. The automobile sector is full. The lots are full. I mean, I go by them now, they're full. I got to remember, August 22 when I bought my car, there was no cars. You could go to the lot, there was like 7 used cars. Now it's full. It's completely full. They got plenty of cars. Chrysler CEO resigned because they have so many cars, overbuilt. So is the prices going to stay? No. You can't keep on jumping the supply and keep the same price. Someone's going to give, and it's going to be the used car market first, and that's going to collapse, and then people will buy the used cars and not the new ones, and the new car companies like GM, Ford will have to cut the prices. United Health, of course, we had the shooting of the CEO. They caught the killer. Innocent until proven guilty, but I think it's the person. But the backlash on all the stuff, 31% denial of claims, making millions of dollars, paying them $10 million, everything negative, and this stock is just getting pummeled. 620 to 520 in less than 10 days. And where's the bottom at? Well, I don't know. We got support at $480, maybe $440. I don't know. And of course, Senator Warren, who's a Democrat, Senator Hawley of Missouri, who's a Republican, proposed making health care get rid of the pharmacy benefit managers, which is a big source of their revenue profits. Going to have to divest out of it. Get out of that. You're going to do health care or pharmacy, but you're not going to do both. So I think people are listening, and it's going to be a change. And I would not be touching the big healthcare companies, United and Anthem and everything else.
This is a reminder. Talk about the financial interest rates.
Okay, well, I kind of did.
This is a reminder. Talk about the financial interest rates.
Yeah, I mean, the core CPI is high. The rates are going up. The cut came in September, and the rates went up. If you look, I've always watched the 2-year, even though most people say you should watch the 10-year, 30-year. It doesn't matter. The idea is that they thought the rates would go down with the rates getting cut, and it's gone the opposite way because the core is high and people are having some issues. So. I think if you got money, you want to definitely have some stock into the S&P related stocks like we do, but otherwise it's going to be tougher in a lot of sectors and stuff. Broadcom, jumped 51%. People act like that was news. I said, no, last quarter went up 47%, so it's better. This is actually a pretty amazing jump because not too many companies can do it a couple of quarters in a row, but Broadcom did it. A lot of earnings, and of course, it just shoots up like it was a brand new stock and it was a new NVIDIA. And I was like, okay. I guess we forget when we had the earnings up here, it jumped, and then we get the earnings down here, it jumped, and over here it dropped. And Broadcom kind of always seems to really go up a lot within the first 10 days of the earnings. And I've been around it a long time, and and it's not bad. I mean, that's a good drop. There's not too many companies at 40%. They're in the top 5. So it's not a bad stock. We just don't own it because we have enough tech stocks. Tesla, on the other hand, is on steroids since the election of November 5th, or the 5th of November was the election date, and it's up 69%. Okay, wandering around sideways, and then boom, he's on the Doge committee, Department of Government Efficiencies, and he's in there with Trump all the time, and he's doing well. And of course, the stock is doing crazy meme stock. Don't say meme. All right. So we got a lot of people that are excited about Tesla. I'm telling you, if you were short Tesla when you got up here, it went down, you thought you made some money, and then it just killed you. I can't believe anybody would be short now. If you have money still left, you might be right this time, but I don't know. I mean, I've shorted stocks in my life, but I don't think I'd touch a momentum monster like this. I mean, earnings are going to be October, so we go into January, late January. Maybe after that, but I tell you, Tesla's fire, and the revenues are not that good. So it's a lot of hype, and the hype's going to come down someday. But man, you could be broke doing this. So just stay out of it, watch it. If you own it, maybe take some off the table. Adobe, I'll tell you what, you cannot sit there and guide below census. Just like the other ones, drop it down. You guide, it's going to be punished, and how far you can get punished, I don't know. Some people talk, it can go down half from what it was, and I think, wait a minute. It was 620, and now it's 440. You're almost, or 460. Man, 140, 100, wait a minute, 640, 140. I mean, you're almost down $200 on this stock since February, and the market's up 28, 26%. Oh, not good. I mean, again, as we tell get away from these artificial AI people. They're doing okay. I think this is good. I just don't know what a fair price of Adobe is right now. I could probably figure it out, but it's just not a tough enough, market in there. I want to see Adobe do text to video and sell it. Show me the commercial. Here, look at this. I type it, I get this text. I'd like that. I might actually buy Adobe software for that, but I always say, well, how many hours am I going to put into it? 5? No. We go to the industrials. We went through the rotation of our 14. Now we're back to the start. I always start with the industrials. XLI, look at this chart. It's good until it wasn't good. It broke through the support level, and PPI was hotter than expected today. So, whew, we're down to, 2 industrials and Coca-Cola, who makes Coke products. Number 1 drink is Coca-Cola. Diet Coke and Coke Zero are also in the top 10. So we'll talk about them. But industrials, look at a lot of these negatives still. A lot of little negatives, but it's not an all-green sector and stuff. In the automobile sector, because I just been to so many auto plants, I just watch, Toyota and GM, Ford, Volkswagen, Honda, and Tesla right up here, So generally, we look at it. Who's did the best? Well, Tesla 7.8. GM was 10.2, so GM's got the crown for the quarter, and that's not so bad. I mean, GM is one of the few that has not taken a hit, but I think all these guys are going to take hits because the market is oversaturated. And Tesla even said, hey, we're going to take a couple days layoff of the truck. Why? Because it's not selling at $100,000. The demand is almost dead. Coca-Cola, $270 billion market cap. Up and down. I just like it because, you got to get used to the Coke is in there. This is a slower earning growth pattern, but it's been pretty good. You had a chance to buy a super cheap in April, and it's a little bit higher than that. But, PE's not sky high, and the dividend is, 3%. So not bad. Lockheed Martin, $117 billion cap. I'm watching these meme coins. Somebody told me Fart Coin was up at 500 million. You're telling me billion you could buy a no-name cryptocurrency that's worth more than Lockheed? You got to be on drugs. This is what people they got more money than brains. They're you're buying something that really you don't know anything about, but it sounds hot and you're making money. And somebody's making money, but I bet it ain't the people who bought this week. The dividend is 2.5. It's not bad. Of course it's tough. Everybody's thinking the defense industry is gone, but the budget came out $890 billion, of which Lockheed will get a chunk of that. Not a chunk of it, but get a good chunk of a portion of it, or whatever you want to say it. Again, it's below the 200-day moving average. That is normally concern, but I think they're going to make defense spending on the Ukraine war No more offensive spending. That means no more, HIMARS and other stuff, but we'll see. Nobody knows, Does it settle the peace? If the peace sells, then they're going to get approval to sell to everybody. That's what's nice about it, but you got to be in a manufacturer, and I like Lockheed, and it's pretty solid, and they make good products, and we'll see. Yeah, the missile plant in Pennsylvania might be in trouble, but we'll watch it. Again, it's a stock. Defense stocks are cyclical, and right now, if you got a president that's pretty much about insisting we're going to end these wars and do whatever he can to do it, then we're going to eventually maybe have to think about getting out. And but we'll watch. We'll see what happens on this thing. The S&P 500, I usually don't talk about other people. I kind of joke around with Kramer, but Tom Lee's fund strat he's been pretty good. He didn't get a couple things. Wasn't a 50% increase in the Russell small cap. He's wrong on that. He didn't get $150,000 Bitcoin, but he got 100,000. But he's been pretty good on the S&P. If you're going to take a look at it, he says, it's going to go up because there's going to be excitement with the new year, and then around somewhere in mid 2025, that means what, maybe May or June, go away in May, might be a good thing. It's going to drop to 6,000 and then maybe rebound back to 6,600. Well, like I said, I've been saying it, the model's showing, between now and January 20th, 5 to 20% drop. Tom's talking about it might be pushed out. He might be right. I mean, as we get closer and closer to January 20th, it may not happen, but I'll tell you what, just 1 week, I've seen it happen. So, we're going to look at it. So we have to think about what is everybody else picking, 6,400 to 7,100, and that's going to be an issue that a lot of people, I don't think I just said I'll be happy. I mean, I'm thinking we're not going to probably get 3 good years in a row with the S&P and the core interest rate and the huge debt. You've got to do something, otherwise this debt's going to chew us alive. Somebody said we're paying $900 million a year in the debt, and that's a lot of money. So we'll see. I'm not, I like to see the debt under control, but the heat map, again, a couple stocks jumped up, particularly Broadcom up 20%, and Tesla's just been on a rage, but our Google's number 3, and of course Nvidia down 5%, but we weren't in Oracle at down 9%, and a lot of stocks in the red this week. It was a red week. I think we have one up day, as I really call it, among 5, and could we be in the decline of this 5 to 20% that I've been talking about? Next week will tell us. We get another week like this or 2, we definitely would have had that correction that I predicted. But it was an ugly week, and it was down overall this week. So everybody's watching it, and again, as everybody's so sure about the Santa Claus rally, the more likely it's not going to happen. And that's one of my philosophies. You're not being a contrarian, but things are never 100% in the stock market, and just when you think you've got it right and you can predict it and make money, the market does what it wants to do, and it'll be something in hindsight people will be able to tell. But we've gone up a lot, and we've gone up a lot too fast, and just be careful. It's cold out here. It was 4 degrees this morning. Woo! So let's stay warm, let's keep our stocks hot, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.